Today I'm here to interview the reincarnated Giovanni Cassini. Let's see what he has to say. So Giovanni, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm an Italian-born French astronomer, and I was born on June 8th, 1625, and I lived for 87 years and died on September 14th, 1712.
No way.
Yeah, and I actually went blind right before I died.
Okay, that's cool. Tell me about your childhood and your young adult life.
I was mainly raised by my uncle, and I was always interested in astronomy, math, and poetry. I went to college at the Jesuit College in Genoa, and I studied under Cassini. After completing my education, I was accepted as an astronomer professor at a university. And while I was teaching there, I was able to make many discoveries. In 1669, I was invited to Paris to build the Paris Observatory, and this is where I did most of my studies, and I remained there until my death.
Could you tell me about the time at the Paris Observatory?
Sure, I was actually invited to Paris to establish it, and I quickly became the director of the observatory. And I spent most of my time there researching astronomy, and I got to use advanced telescopes for my research, which helped me create a topographical map of France, and it was the first map to ever measure longitude and latitude. I was also able to determine the rotation periods of Mars and Jupiter, and the rotation period is the amount of time it takes for a planet to rotate around its axis, so me figuring this out was pretty revolutionary. I passed down the title of director to my son, grandson, and great-grandson after my death.
Wow, what was your biggest impact on astronomy?
My biggest impact on astronomy was probably discovering 4 of Saturn's biggest moons, and I discovered that Jupiter is flattened at both of its poles.
Oh, tell me more about the discovery of Saturn.
I observed the moons Iapetus, Rhea, Tethys, and Dione. I called them the stars of Luis.
How did you discover them?
I used a telescope crafted by a lens maker Giuseppe Campani, and I discovered the gap in the ring system of Saturn, and I calculated that the rings were made of multiple tiny satellites that orbited the planet. The gap in Saturn's rings is titled Cassini Division after my discovery.
That is awesome. You were very influential. Now tell me more about your discovery of Jupiter.
Okay, I was able to make the observations on Jupiter with the same telescope. I calculated the period of rotation of Jupiter on its axis, and I noticed that there were bands and spots on the planet. While doing this, I also realized that the planet was flattened.
Did you find anything else there?
Actually, yes, I did. I was able to make improved tables on the positions of Jupiter's Galilean moons.
Nice. Now tell me a little bit about the Cassini spacecraft.
Okay, after my death, the spacecraft Cassini was launched in 1997, and most of its missions involved the atmosphere of Saturn and observing its rings and moons. It spent more than a decade in Saturn's atmosphere, and it discovered the habituality of some of its moons. Later on, in 2017, it went out to Saturn's atmosphere and burned up to prevent the risk of contaminating the moons. But based on Cassini's findings, scientists believe that the moons in Saturn's system could be hospitable to life.
Wow, you've done so much for the future of astronomy. It was an honor to talk to you.